Hello there, kia ora. I just got back from the Big Day Out, the biggest event on the Tamaki Makaurau Pride calendar, after a weekend which saw some of the worst anti-rainbow actions from the dumbest, most indoctrinated Christian thugs in the country dominate our headlines. As you've probably heard, Destiny Church-linked thugs disrupted a drag storytime event in Te Atatu and the Pride Parade on Saturday. The violent nature of the Te Atatu event saw scared children, parents, and centre staff barricaded in their room for safety. Now, there's no way this wasn't traumatic for those involved. And the whole thing, it was planned, and we know this because a Kuka media outlet was there in advance to record and stream the whole thing. And it's not a surprise. Brian Tamaki has been ramping up his imported culture war rhetoric recently, and last weekend he called for people to go to war and take action. On Sunday this week, he was gloating about it and said that he called for them to storm the building. You know, the very definition of that highly illegal act known as inciting violence. And it has been universally decried. Chris Hipkins was really quick to comment about it. It took a while, but the Prime Minister eventually came out against the actions. The Free Speech Union came out against it. And Wayne Brown, the Mayor of Auckland, also did the same. So today, I wanted to know what was happening about it. Now, National and ACT didn't have a presence at the Big Gay Out, so I couldn't talk to them, but I did speak to Rainbow Affairs spokesperson for Labour, Shannon Halbert, and Green Party spokesperson for Rainbow and Takatapui issues, Benjamin Doyle, about this topic. Both have already spoken in the past with Police Minister Mark Mitchell about ensuring the safety of young people in the rainbow community, especially since the hateful rhetoric from the self-appointed bishop has been ramped up since, one of his own church leaders was convicted of the thing he keeps saying drag queens are doing, but there's never been any evidence to say that it actually happens. And he's been emboldened by the fact that he keeps getting away with his bullshit. The wet bus tickets slapped for his attacks on rainbow crossings show this, and he's yet to go to court in the case of drag queens suing him for impacting their livelihoods. On top of that, Doyle has started communication with intelligence services to look at having Destiny Link groups classified as a terror group, like Proud Boys is here. And there was talk amongst MPs from both parties about working to get the groups added to the list of gangs whose insignia and patches are now illegal in public. It's still a shitty law, but it's not changing anytime soon, so they figured that they should use it for some actual good instead of, just PR. On top of that, Auckland Council is also looking at hiring rules for locations. Currently, they can't turn down a location booking just because they don't like the person or the group making a booking. Did you know our new Race Relations Commissioner was actually part of the group who organised protests around those far-right commentators, Southern and Molyneux, to make sure that their councils couldn't do that with bookings. But there is provision about ensuring safety of people attending events on council facilities within the rules, and this sort of behaviour could be grounds for ensuring that no further bookings for Destiny-linked groups happen. It's still being looked at though, and it's still early days, so there's no definitive path ahead yet on this. Now for the really sucky part. The reason this rhetoric has been imported and makes an impact is because we do have a government that has elements within it that are susceptible to the rhetoric and use similar culture war talking points. They've been normalizing elements of this, and Tamaki and his minions are happy to use that. We've seen political appointments, like that Race Relations Commissioner I mentioned before, who worked to allow this kind of rhetoric that Tamaki and his ilk spout to be promoted. When parties like New Zealand First or the voters who complain to the National Party vilify trans people in amateur sport or demand the removal of RSE in schools because of bullshit that keeps their voting base angry based on no data whatsoever, and they have the power to influence policy or tear the government apart, it emboldens the people who think the sort of brutish, ugly actions that happened over the weekend are okay. We can clearly track how the anti-vaccine and anti-mandate movements have shifted its focus to rage farm over trans rights, and how they use that as a blanket approach to the rainbow community. We can clearly track how the rhetoric out of the US government is amplified in those groups around these issues, and we can clearly see how susceptible these people are to being sucked in and worked up. To these people, it doesn't matter that the police are on record as saying that there's never been a recorded incident of a trans person committing a violent crime in a bathroom or changing room, that the rainbow community still has some of the highest rates of hateful violence aimed at them, or the screeds of academic, peer-reviewed research that's gone into seeing how difficult it is for many in the rainbow community to be accepted for who they are. because that's how indoctrination works. But there is some positive steps there that the public can take. Write to your local MPs or Police Minister Mark Mitchell and throw your support behind making the changes to the laws to add these thugs to the list of groups whose insignia gets banned. Well, maybe not if you're in Hamilton East. Your local MP actually got into politics because he was a member of Destiny Church. But you can always write to the police minister. It is high time that the actions of one loudmouth with way too much eyebrow pencil work was held to account for the actions that put people in harm's way. No one should be scared to be themselves, or to take kids to a community centre to hear a performer read kids' books. Hey, thanks for checking out today's video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so you get more updates as we go along. We deal with these guys for the rest of the year.